The chamber of the Galactic Council stood silent. 1,000 races from across the known stars filled the amphitheater, each voice hushed under the glimmering dome of the central hall. In the center stood a single figure, human, bound in restraint fields, eyes steady and unyielding. His name was Ambassador Reed. He represented the entirety of Earth in the Council's endless disputes. Today he stood accused of defiance, of humanity's refusal to bow to the decrees of the Council. The presiding Archon, a towering being of translucent skin and bioluminescent veins, spoke in a tone that resonated across the hall. Humanity has violated the concord of civilized species. Their actions against sanctioned trade routes and unauthorized planetary fortifications are a threat to the balance of peace. Reed did not flinch. Peace, he said. You call it peace when you strip worlds bare and enslave systems under your council laws? You call it peace when you crush anyone who dares stand free? Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A few members looked away. Others sneered. Humanity had become an inconvenient variable in the grand equation of galactic order. They expanded too quickly, built too fiercely, and refused to submit to the old powers who ruled through fear. The Archon raised a crystalline hand. Enough, humanity has chosen defiance. The Council has chosen justice. Light flared. The restraint fields brightened until they became blinding. Reed's body froze in that radiance, his voice cutting off mid-breath. Then the light vanished. What remained of the human ambassador was nothing but ash, scattered into the silent void of the chamber. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Then the Archon turned to the assembly. Let this stand as warning. The humans must learn their place. But far away in the Sol system, a silent transmission reached Earth's orbital command stations. It contained one image, the last moment of Reed's life. The signal was verified, confirmed, and archived. Then, by unanimous command from the Terran Directorate, the highest-level emergency order was unsealed for the first time in human history. Its title was simple: Extermination Protocol. Across the Terran systems, fleets that had lain dormant for decades came to life. Planetary shipyards burned with activity. Entire industrial moons shifted production toward weapons of extinction. The human response was not rage, it was resolution. Humanity had been patient once. They had sought peace, compromise, coexistence, but they had learned that peace demanded submission, and compromise was always paid in human blood. Admiral Grant, commander of the Sol Defense Fleet, stood before a vast holographic map showing the spiral arms of the Milky Way. They took our envoy, he said to his staff, his voice calm. Now we take their certainty. Within days, the first wave departed. The Terran dreadnought Erebus led the assault fleet, its engines igniting like small suns. Behind it followed cruisers, carriers, and autonomous war constructs, each carrying Earth's vengeance encoded in steel. When the first Council outpost received humanity's transmission, it wasn't a declaration of war. It was a statement. Contact with Earth is terminated. The Council has executed peace. Earth now executes balance. The message ended there. Then came silence, followed by the arrival of human ships. The outpost never transmitted again. Reports reached the Council within hours. Entire patrol fleets vanished. Communications from border sectors were replaced by static. Surveillance drones caught brief glimpses of human vessels, shapes dark and angular, wrapped in adaptive armor that swallowed light. Wherever they appeared, they erased. Not conquered, not occupied, erased. Panic rippled through the Council's core worlds. The same ambassadors who had voted for Reed's execution now shouted for restraint, for negotiation. But humanity did not answer. They had sealed their borders, turned their colonies into fortresses, and moved with the precision of a single unified will. Inside the Terran Strategic Command, scientists and soldiers worked as one. They unleashed weapons the galaxy had never seen: gravitic imploders, atmosphere disassemblers, and silent drones capable of dismantling fleets molecule by molecule. But their most fearsome creation was not mechanical. It was the doctrine that guided them: total deterrence through absolute retaliation. Every human commander knew the words by heart. No mercy for tyrants. No surrender for freedom. The Council attempted to strike first. They gathered a coalition fleet of 4,000 ships from 12 species, each vessel armed with the latest galactic technology. They met the humans in the barren orbit of the dead world Viridian 4. The battle lasted 8 minutes. Humanity did not fight like the Council's fleets. Their ships did not engage in formation lines or predictable maneuvers. They vanished into quantum shadows, reappearing within enemy ranks. Railfire streaked across the void, piercing through shields as if they were mist. When the Council's admirals tried to retreat, they found their navigation arrays dead, their engines disabled by weaponized code that rewrote their systems mid-battle. The flagship Luminar broadcast one final plea before its reactor detonated. To any listening world, surrender. They are not like us. The galaxy listened. In the weeks that followed, the human advance became a storm. Systems burned, stations vanished, and for the first time in millennia, the Council's armies fell back. Entire civilizations hid behind treaties they once imposed on others, hoping humanity would overlook them. But the humans remembered every world that voted for Reed's death. They came for each, one by one. On the moon of Vorthal Prime, a Council delegation tried to contact Earth. They transmitted on every known frequency. We request parley. We offer apology. The execution was a mistake, no response, only static. Then the stars above Vorthal flickered, and human ships appeared. They did not bombard the surface. They deployed drones carrying broadcast arrays. Every living being on that moon heard the same voice through the sky. It was a recording, the voice of Ambassador Reed himself, taken from the archives before his death. You taught us that peace is submission. We learned your lesson. Then the transmission ended. The drones detonated and Vorthal Prime ceased to exist. Across the galaxy, the legend of humanity transformed from defiant upstarts to spectral avengers. Whole sectors went dark as the Terran fleets moved through them. The Council, once the supreme power of known space, now fractured under the weight of its own fear. On the capital world of Orion, the Archon who had ordered Reed's execution addressed the remaining delegates. We face extinction, he said. Their technology cannot be countered. Their will cannot be broken. We must find their leader and negotiate. But there was no negotiation to be had. The human fleet surrounded Orion soon after. Their arrival was silent, their weapons unpowered. Instead, a single human vessel descended toward the Council Hall. From it stepped an envoy, clad in black armor, bearing the insignia of the Terran Directorate. He entered the chamber where Reed had died. The same Archon stood before him, trembling. You came to end us, the Archon said. The human's voice was calm. No, we came to show you what justice looks like. He placed a small cube on the floor. Light spread from it, illuminating the chamber. It replayed the execution of Ambassador Reed in perfect clarity. The Archon flinched as his own words echoed through the hall, his voice calling for humanity's punishment. The human waited until the projection ended. You called that justice, so we gave you the same. He turned and left. Moments later, the cube pulsed once and the entire planet disintegrated into radiant dust. The rest of the galaxy watched in silence. No one moved against Earth again. Centuries later, explorers from distant regions found the ruins of the old Council worlds. They found no human colonies among them, only markers bearing a single phrase carved in unyielding alloy. We warned you. Remember. By then, humanity had vanished beyond the galactic rim. They had achieved what they sought, not domination, but peace born from respect and fear. Their systems closed themselves off, their transmissions ceased. To the younger races that rose in their absence, humans became a legend, a whispered warning carried between stars. Some said they still watched from the void, unseen. Others claimed they had moved beyond this galaxy entirely, forging empires among new stars where no council would ever rise again. In the end, the galaxy learned the cost of arrogance. They had executed one human to remind others of obedience. Instead, they awakened a species that had no equal in wrath, no rival in resolve, and long after the last memory of the council faded, the words of Ambassador Reed still echoed through history, etched in every world humanity had touched. We asked for peace. You gave us ashes. Now you understand what we learned long ago. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity endures.